Hey there, fellow children. It's me, your boy, Future Sterling here, to fill you in on this little weird podcast. We had a lot of foibles that I made sure to erase as much as possible, due to the fact that the recording in Audacity has been similar to playing Russian roulette, and resulting in cutting out huge portions of talk between us youngsters. We ended up having to record on a separate day to talk about the Netflix Evangelion hubbub instead of going far into an E3 cast after we talked about Godzilla King of the Monsters. So without further ado, I'll let you go. Hopefully we'll be able to catch this kind of thing sooner and fix it right then and there. But it's definitely gonna have to be on the fault of Audacity on this one. Mostly cough, cough, Sean, cough, cough.
Okay.
I did it.
I did it.
Oh boy.
Yatta.
We're fine.
We got stuff for you today, my boys.
Yeah.
Starting off
And one girl
super
who
early.
watches.
With us today we have the illustrious
Jesus.
Sean.
Hello.
How are you, Sean?
I had something in my eye during the Xbox conference, and every time I saw a game I didn't like, I was trying to get the hair boogies out until Cassie pinned me down and shoved eye drops in my eye.
Nice.
Yeet.
Oh boy. And that quiet man, Matthew Ferrugia, how are you doing?
I do my best to stay silent when I am not being spoken to. Hey everyone, it's me, Matthew, and I'm here to talk about a certain lizard, and I guess video games.
I
as well.
can also talk about that lizard.
I guess.
He's not a lizard, Jesus Christ.
I suppose we can also talk about video games.
What's a video game?
Video games are that things with a Shodan. Sean, you should know that.
Oh, hey. I like the
Shodan.
Shodan.
You know about Shodan.
Do
yeah,
I?
yeah.
Yes.
Maybe. I'm not too sure. And of course, my lovable guest, and host as well, Josiah, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I just woke up from a nap and I have a big gulp drink, so I'm ready to go.
And of course, your host today, Sterling Silver, me.
Storm King
Hi,
Silver.
yo.
Oh.
What? Hopefully I'm not in that Pizzagate. Not yet, at least.
We'll see. The DOA will be the judge of that. Or the DOJ, I'm sorry.
So, let's get right into it, shall we? Godzilla Cotton.
Yeah, I'll start. I don't know what people were talking about when they said there wasn't enough human drama, because there was only like 2 good fights, kaiju fights, and I really could care less about what's her face's daddy-daughter issues the whole movie, you know. Oh wow, my mother is an idiot. Oh god, my father's an alcoholic. Who the fuck cares? I wanted to see Mechagodzilla and Jaja Jet and
Jet Jaguar?
Jet
Jaguar?
Jet Jaguar. Shut up! I still have something in my eye.
Oh,
Jet Jaguar and Baby Godzilla, Mechagodzilla were all gone. So, and also, maybe someone can shed some light, but I thought Godzilla was female.
No, he's always been male. Always.
Sometimes.
No, even Zilla from 1998, the Matthew Broderick version, was technically male because Toho wouldn't let TriStar Studios make a female Godzilla.
But why the eggs, though?
Because he's asexual. And they literally tried to make a female Godzilla and sneak it in the last minute, and that's why she still lays the egg, or he still lays the eggs, is because they couldn't change that much of it until they just made it asexual. But there were more than 2 good monster fights. Gosh, Godzilla starts fighting freaking Ghidorah like 30, 40 minutes into the film.
yeah.
What about Rodan fighting Ghidorah?
That barely happened, though.
That's not how one fight.
I like the build-up for Rodan when he's fighting the
But I mean,
Maybe.
spoiler alert, I think we're gonna get a Mecha King Ghidorah. Probably. Sterling sighs with anticipation.
Well, based on that ending stinger, I
Mecha
can
monster.
see that happening, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see the stinger end of it. I was just.
Oh, so one of the island nations had one of Ghidorah's heads, and they sold it to the eco-terrorist guy. So if anything, they have his DNA, so we might see the Dorats come back.
What?
Who's always that guy?
Game of Thrones boy.
Yeah, Game of Thrones old dude. Yeah. But and he also voices the beginning guy in Until Dawn.
Every Game of Thrones actor is desperately trying to jump onto other roles now.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you have a role for me? Because I'm dead, apparently. Go on, Star.
I said, alright. I think it's better than the first one, of course, because each time I saw that 2014 one, I've seen it at least 3 times, and each 3 times at the same exact part, I fell asleep at it. So that's a good step up for me not sleeping through this one. But
Yeah.
I was kind of bored through most of it. I did like the 2 fights in it, and I also liked more over than those 2 fights with Rodan. Rodan was cool in this for some reason.
Is
After
Rodan
being
like
a jobber from all the other ones?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Rodan's just a jobber from all the other ones.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Well, except for Godzilla.
And,
Rodan.
Oh yeah, the titular one where
The last time he was an actual threat before this movie.
yeah. But every single time, and I watched a whole lot of other Godzilla movies after the fact, so I can get a little bit more freshened up of why this is something that everybody's talking about.
Oh yeah, so all 3 of us, excluding Sean, watched Godzilla versus Destroya last night.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did, because like the 5 that I picked out, excluding 2, were all kind of just boring to me.
Yeah.
What I did was I watched like the AVGN episode of here's your top 5.
Don't follow
And I'm
James
like,
now.
no. Like, and then I watched like 3 other people's reviews and read up on other people's like ranks. So this is what I kind of got. Was I watched the first 1954 Godzilla, which is good. It's like a
Still
very
classic,
good, like 7 on 10 film. Nothing really bad with it, except for some of the pacing issues with like the one-eyed doctor being really dumb, and then all of a sudden he sees the destruction of Godzilla. Like, oh, okay, I'll do it. I'll do this oxygen bomb thing. And then that's about it. I'm like, yeah, that was cool. That was good. There was a lot of course, atomic bomb scenes or like similar scenes of like, oh, hey, all these people are being killed by Godzilla. Uh-oh. And they didn't shy away from that, which is cool in 1954. And then I watched GMK, Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack, which is the semi-sequel to the first movie, and I just could not get into that one at all. It was boring, and everything that happened in it, even the monster fights, was boring.
Yeah, Destroy All Monsters is better than that one. People always hail that one as such a like technical like great one, but Destroy All Monsters is like probably my favorite like big old multi-monster one.
And then I watched, King Kong versus Godzilla, or whichever how you say it.
But that's not out yet.
No, that one.
Well, the original one from what was it,
the original one.
1956 or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's 1960 something, I think.
1965 then probably. Can't remember. There's so many dates.
Well, there's like 3 movies that are in like the 1950s, and I believe that's the last one that was in 1950s.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think so. But that one was like the story in it was just funny, but like the monster fights themselves were just kind of ridiculously unfunny. And I was just like, it's cute in a way, but it's just like a guy in a monkey suit beating up a giant lizard boy in a suit. That's about it.
Yeah, and Toho taking the payout to let King Kong win.
Yeah, which was nice. They can be humble. And then I watched after I watched Destroya, which was actually the better ones. I'm like, oh wow, that's actually pretty good. Like the fights in it were like the only good things about it, kind of. All the other parts were we were talking over it and making fun of it as well, but from what I could tell from it, the story in and of itself was a little bit better than the GMK one, which it was just boring.
Yeah, the story's got at least a solid script behind it.
Yeah. And then to top it all off, I was gonna go with Godzilla 2000, but like, nah, let's just go right to the money and go for Final Wars.
I was about to say Final Wars.
And I unironically will give this a 10 out of 10. Final Wars is one of the best Godzilla movies I've seen. And Don Fry, may he rest in peach. He's the greatest actor there ever was, at least in that movie. All you have to do is just be a Stalin lookalike and carry a samurai sword, and you'll be cool in my book. That's it. And with all that, that was just like a little taste of, okay, this is what Godzilla is. How does this new Kotem, King of the Monsters, stack up to that? And out of all of them, I think it's even worse than GMK, and it's boring to me. At least in GMK, the story of the people around it was, the people story was more intriguing, of like desecrating spirit graves or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
In GMK, than being, let me take care of this hostage situation that this eco-terrorist is trying to make all these monsters destroy the world so that new life can grow or whatever. I was just like,
Well, you know why they called the device the Orca, right?
The what?
You know why they called the device the Orca, right?
I guess not.
Okay, so Orca is the pre-evolution form of being X, which then transforms into King Ghidorah with 4 legs.
Yeah.
That's why you see the 4-leg King Ghidorah gang stickers on certain Godzilla posts. And so the Orca was it was an alien kaiju that they had injected with Ghidorah's DNA, and that was the thing, though, is that his cry would make monsters like rally to him. And and so that's why they named the device the Orca, is not because after whales, like they said in the stupid movie.
Yeah.
But because it had like semblance, and that's the thing, is like, I think they covered up, because I mean that's the hardest part with like an American film, is that you gotta go through the steps. You can't just have a great monster movie, and so you gotta follow the steps. And with what they were allowed to do, I think they did the best they could, because I mean there are so many gems in there, and there are so many stupid blog posts about like, man, I can't believe you wouldn't believe what kind of Easter eggs are in King of All Monsters or King of the Monsters, and one of them was like the Mothra one. With the 2-inch twins, and I'm like, yeah, because they explained it to you. That's it's not. It's an Easter egg. Nobody's talking about it because everybody either knows what it is or doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, but no, yeah. It was filled with just little things, and yeah, apparently there's a whole group of critics who didn't understand that the doctor on the plane with the main cast wasn't the same one in China with Mothra's chrysalis. and that they were twins, and so they are the Mothra twins. They originally sings the song to make Mothra break out of the cocoon. And so there was this huge, like, I started reading up, and the rabbit hole goes pretty deep about these critics who didn't understand it and thought it was the same, because the actress plays both twins.
Yeah.
And they thought that she was the same person, and she just jumped. And I'm like, what? It doesn't even make any sense. Like, they have two different hairstyles. I don't understand. Like, it was the weirdest thing I ever read. Like, as far as it, and like, I don't know, it was ridiculous. To see some of the blog posts that came out of this about people who were like, oh yeah, you know, Godzilla fans, this and that, and blah blah, from people who have never like watched any of the Godzilla films, like from just Wikipedia searching things. Well,
I can say that King of the Monsters made me go back and watch more Godzilla, so I guess that's a plus. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, like, this is ultimately
like
this
Godzilla 2014 didn't do that.
No, ultimately this is the starting of something, and it's just kind of like a step in the right direction. Obviously, it's not a great film. I mean, the monster effects are pretty well done. Everything as far as like the monster aspects are done correctly.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a step in the right direction. It's just it was still a little too serious. And I didn't think the plot was terrible as far as like what it could be, because we've seen what it can be before.
Yeah.
It was definitely better than the other two American Godzillas, and so you know, like I said, I think it's a step in the right direction. And as soon as as soon as the producers in the suits see that people will eat this stuff up, they'll allow, you know, because I'm sure there was a lot of debate back and forth about like how much plot they had to put in the movie and how radical it was, and like, because like, I mean, the whole eco-terrorism thing like goes back to the original Godzilla, because like the nuclear threat isn't like the biggest thing right now. It's like, you know, climate change and all that sort of stuff, and so and so, you know, so they have to change like not the essence, but like the materials around Godzilla and why he has to come and why he has to fight, and you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, so I think that they captured that spirit pretty well in the film, at the very least. But
I have very little knowledge of the Godzilla franchise as a whole, but just as a singular film, based on what I saw, I had a hell of a great time here. The film soundtrack, specifically the remix of of Godzilla at the end, is the standout best part of the whole experience to me. So yeah, I can't weigh in on the same level as you and Josiah, Sterling, but I do have to say, as a standalone kind of experience, this was a real strong one for me. I would give King of the Monsters a 8 out of 10, honestly. Which is maybe
should,
like
listen to the Final Wars soundtrack.
Final Wars
41.
Soundtrack. Of course, Shin Godzilla has an amazing. They reinvigorate the original Godzilla theme in Shin Godzilla, so.
Sounds good.
Pretty amazing. It's pretty terrifying.
Yeah, Shin Godzilla should be on your watch list, Matthew.
We tried to watch last night and watch together, but we couldn't get it to work.
Cause fucking.
I even rented it on freaking YouTube for $3, but their stupid Canadian syrup internet wouldn't work.
This wasn't us. This was some kind of this had to be some sort of issue with Watch Together, because I've tried it with the paid stuff before. Didn't work out.
Oh well. Yeah, well, if Rabbit would have just been up, we would have been able to do it, but you know.
At the end of the day, it is Rabbit's fault. That's true.
It is Rabbit's fault. But all in all, I think it was a very enjoyable experience. At least it was a fun movie. It was definitely a callback to, you know, people who are diehard fans like I am, and then it definitely gave a lot of good fight and context to people who were just coming in for the first time. So, and I think it pairs together pretty well with the much more with Kong Skull Island than it does with the original 2014 Godzilla.
I do appreciate how much they took
Yeah,
their
yeah.
time teasing King Kong with just a couple back shots in a film. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Never an actual face shot. It's just like, oh, he's there now. Don't worry. We got the other big guy. He's a-coming.
How many Easter eggs were there? Because from what I've seen from, like, the post-Godzilla watch that I've seen,
Yeah.
from what I remember, there's, like, quite a bit. Like, the spider from Arizona.
Yeah, Kumonga.
Yeah, there was, what was the woolly mammoth anything new?
Oh, that's new. That's
Yeah.
new. Yeah. well, number one, I don't even know if he's woolly mammoth. He might just be an ape with trunks, because he doesn't have or an ape with tusks. He doesn't have a trunk. But no, like I looked it up like right after the film, and yeah, that's an original kaiju. It's not a callback. I was really surprised they didn't just put Anguirus in it, man.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's good just to show a couple of them and throw in, and they, of course they had apparently one of the Mutos is alive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also weird because they after the 2014 Godzilla was released, they sent out a companion comic which was a prequel to the 2014 Godzilla called Godzilla Aftershocks.
Ooh.
And it describes the unique situation between Godzilla and the Muto, in which the Muto actually killed Godzilla's father, the original Godzilla, and that this Godzilla is actually Godzilla Jr., so keep that in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, and there's like a whole bunch of stuff that like ties into Kong as well from that comic. Like, it's really weird.
The Monsterverse.
Yeah.
Get in the lore.
Well, I mean, they're not doing a terrible job. They're doing a lot better than the freaking, what was it? The Time Warner monsters and the Dark Monster universe or whatever.
Oh fuck
and
yeah!
Yeah.
And then they're still doing a better job than DC. So, but we'll see. That new Joker movie looks promising.
Yeah. In a society.
Everyone likes Joaquin Phoenix.
Overall, like, meh, I will give it credit for making me go watch other good Godzilla movies. But if I had to rate it, I don't really want to rate this, but I'll give it a 5 on 10. It might change when I can actually watch it in a DVD or something like that, or a cough other ways.
Did you have an unsavory theater experience?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Pretty much almost nobody was in there, but
I did. I was surrounded by two couples that had never seen Godzilla, and they just want to talk over the entire movie.
Oof.
Which was nice because one of the ladies jumped when Godzilla roared like really big that first time, and then that jump scare in the first like 13 minutes.
Yeah.
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 So, looked at the news today. Evangelion is out and about, making Gay Pride Month the greatest month of all, with its present from Netflix being that of Evangelion. Netflix everything. So, yeah, that's a thing, but for some reason, a new dub has been utilized for this, I guess, outing in the Western areas. And,
You could say that the dub is the first time the dub was coming out.
Oof. And, yeah, I guess we'll express our thoughts on this,
This new Evangelion dub. English dub.
And
So, as all of you folks out there, good folks out there know, who've watched Evangelion the last 20 years legally, like we have,
of course,
you know that there are two major themes to Evangelion that make it the series that it is. Okay, one, homosexuals, and two, we have the rebels and so-called homosexuals destroying authoritative government power structures. Also, global warming or climate change. I'm sorry.
Yep. Yeah.
These are the major themes that have been identified by journalists and, of course, watchers, to a lesser extent.
Yep.
That completely confide in a full experience while watching Evangelion, which is ridiculous. I mean, how could they know in 1995 all these things would become so relevant today?
It takes courage. That's the one thing that I take from this Evangelion redub.
Well, it's a very
journalists taking part in it just takes courage.
It takes a very brave and bold story to be able to do this.
Yep. And out in this 2019 year, jeez, topical. Let me tell you.
Well, some might say that it kind of breaks the binary that the mecha anime had over the genre.
Are you saying this is non-binary? I mean.
Well, let's not get too far. I don't like to assign labels, but.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's fair.
All right, enough crackerjacking around.
Yeah. So, thoughts on the dub itself?
Well, a little basic. Sterling and I both we streamed some Evangelion last night. We watched 1 through 5, and then the Asuka episode.
The Asuka and Kaoru.
Yeah, and then the 24th. Yeah, the Kaoru episode. Yep. To see what was so big and bad about the dub.
And some of the subtitles too.
Well, yeah. But I mean, gosh, yeah, I can deal with some errors here, some errors there with subtitles much more than I can with people wanting to competently dub and localize something.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more forgivable, and they can even solve it in post too. Like they can go back and solve it. Like it's not like the subs are permanent. Yeah.
This is true.
But so positives. We had a great supporting cast.
Positive? Yeah, mostly a great supporting
except for
cast.
Dude with the glasses.
Some of the guys in Nerve,
the control room,
are kind of here and there. But yeah, pretty much Johnny Young Bosch, right? That's the actor's name, and all the other friend who is the military
weeb
Philiac guy.
The guy who can't, get a stiffy without a gun going off.
Those two are pretty great.
Yeah. Maybe not 100% accurate to the source material, but pretty great in their own rights.
Of course, being that at least one of them is very experienced in the voicing area. And then you have Katsuragi, who is the Berserk girl Casca voice actor, who does a fine job. Pretty good. Nothing too horrible about it. But yeah, then there's Asuka, which is fine in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely a different voice from what we heard.
Yeah, very different, but in the same area of, this works for what she's going for. Pretty much going on the original dub. One of the things that I did not like about the cast was Asuka's, and I know that you are very much different in my.
I wouldn't say I'm very much different. I'm more neutral. I thought it was fine. I didn't think they did a terrible job in the original dub. Obviously, like you remember me talking even on this own podcast. I wasn't gonna die in the hill for the original dub. Like there was definitely some good people and some good portrayals, but it was just a pretty average dub.
Yeah, the Shinji voice actor, the original one, is one of my all-time favorites for reasons that is just very unique in what I've seen, and he's done some other work in like Spaceship Nadeshiko and Bubblegum Crash, I'm gonna say, where he pretty much plays the same kind of character, but it works in those places. And I pretty much like that kind of characterization of that voice. And with this new dubbed Shinji, I'm gonna take a big huge. It's a no from me, dog. It's a big huge no from me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the screaming.
Scream takes are pretty good, yeah.
Is good.
Yeah.
Everything else, it's very girlish, which
Well,
is...
okay, so Casey Mungilo, we're gonna go over. So let's just go over some basic things, some basic facts that are non-biased about this voice actor. Okay, so first off, they are they are trans, and they're currently transitioning. But not only that, they also are non-binary, so they prefer they and them pronouns. They've explicitly said this on their Twitter several times. And if you're wondering about from what to what they're transitioning to, it is from male to female. And the thing is that they are actually causing a big scene in the trans community because they are the first big anime voice actor to come out of this generation who is openly trans and non-binary. And so it is causing, despite what we've said about the poor performance of the voice actor and how maybe not performance is the wrong word, but just the wrong casting, because I really feel like they put the best foot forward, and they were trying. I don't think that they were trying to do a bad job, or they're not a good voice actor, because they've done other dubs that have been just fine. But for this part and for this this big of a casting and important of a role, it really seemed like it was a poor fit in my opinion.
Same, pretty much. I wish this person the best of luck going forward in whatever they do, but in this particular case, it's not a very swell take on this character. But I mean, for the normies that are going to be watching it for the first time, it could do a lot worse than this dub.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's not terrible. Yeah. It's not what it's supposed to be, but it's not terrible. Like I said, they really seem to be trying to do their job well and try to capture the character. Mm-hmm. It's just that from the previous dub and from the Japanese original voice acting, it doesn't match up well as far as just... See, the whole thing about Shinji is that, let me put it this way, his voice is, he's a social outcast, he's all alone, he likes to be that way, he isolates himself, and so he is without being forced into the social contract, he is very soft-spoken. He speaks on his breath. He doesn't make eye contact a lot, and so you're gonna want someone with it doesn't even need to be like a softer male voice, but just someone who just is almost mumbling and very soft, and then in that way, in that way, it makes a better contrast whenever they do the famous screams and the yells and have the shouting matches, and it's a starker contrast, and so you got to have somebody who has a moderate male sounding voice, to that of somebody who is 14, 15 years old, and this unfortunately Casey just doesn't cut it as far as that goes.
And like pretty much as you said, like 14 through 15, that's where puberty is like starting pretty much to get going.
Well, I mean,
that
like for
place.
most people,
They're getting ready. That's why the original voice actor's portrayal is kind of spot on, in my opinion, because it's kind of like crackly here and there, and it's like highs and lows when he's talking, but it's pretty like on par with like what you said, like very soft spoken and under the breath takes.
Yeah.
And pretty much that's what we aren't really getting in this
from this
particular-
dub.
Yeah. Also, we might have skipped over her, but Ray's voice acting is a little bit off, but it's fine for the most
It's
part.
definitely not the
from what we've
worst.
seen.
It's just there's just as a tiny bit of bubble in it, like a
Yeah.
tiny bit of
There's a
optimism.
Yeah. There's a little bit life in that husk of a character.
And Ray's
Yeah.
voice is supposed to be like soulless, like especially with the scene, with the first time going to her apartment.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that like it's very hard to get a voice actor who can do, especially a female one that can do the monotone like that without it coming off angry or with some other auxiliary emotion in it. So
Yes.
I mean, it's difficult to do for to capture that kind of emoting,
Yeah.
and especially with the female character, because usually they are very boisterous and they usually are very expressive, and so I mean I think who is it, like Ryan Bartley did a good job as Ray. Obviously it's not as good as I think the Japanese voice actor did the best as far as it came to Ray, but from the original Japanese voice acting. But I mean, it's really hard to typecast these, especially with localization, and but overall we got an okay main cast and a great supporting cast, because Gendo, Ray Chase, like the guy who does Gendo, spot on, amazing.
Yeah. I agree.
It's that you can have a couple different voice types through somebody like Gendo, but you need that dark, uncaring, authoritative, but doesn't have to get loud. There's that type of authoritative confidence in the way they speak, and that's just kind of soulless, and that's the other end of the spectrum as far as like the male voice acting goes, and so he's got to be the exact opposite of Shinji.
Yep. So we've pretty much gone through all of that. Now, Karu, or I forget how they said
Kaoru.
his name, but it was like Kari or Kiru
Karu,
or Kiru,
Caribou, yeah,
something like that.
yeah, Caribou.
He's okay. Nothing terrible for a one-shot kind of character in this episodic thing.
I thought it was pretty good. The original English dub, Karu was definitely one of the lesser talents. Very robotic, very much. It wasn't so much as it was, because in my mind, Karu has to, it's got to be like that sort of just like a little bit like, like as a matter of fact, it's got to be sassy, but with the like the sass in the voice needs to be dialed way down.
And of course, with what they were working with since the last few episodes, excluding maybe the last two, in my opinion, are kind of just on the side of, okay, this is where the production was just kind of going downhill and getting all this budget
gotta get those episodes out
taken away from them. And that's kind of like all those episodes are kind of what we're getting and what we're left with the bare minimum of, gotta have this scene be talking and just get out all this information out as fast as you can.
Yeah, transitions are rough.
But
I don't know, the biggest thing with what the original, because I went back and looked and compared them to each other, Karu in the new one, and I really genuinely enjoyed the new one better, even with the taboo line taken out. Because this new one, I don't know, it has just a little more like depth of emotion without going too much overboard in it. It's just nice to have a fresh voice, and it really feels like the way that he's speaking is guiding Shinji. And in the first one, I don't know, it was almost robotic, like how he spoke, and it was like a Commander Data type, almost monotone in the original dub, and I wasn't always the biggest fan of that. And so I was pleasantly surprised with this Karu this time around.
And of course, the undertones are still there. Of course.
Yeah. No. If anything, I think Casey went a little bit strong, playing Shinji in some of these ones with the gasps and the no. It definitely gave it more tension than it did in the original dub, and even though the lines are similar, and of course we have to talk about everybody's biggest gripe is that line they inserted where Kaoru says, "Hey, don't worry about us bathing together. We're just two guys in this hot tub 5 feet apart because we're not gay."
And we're just holding hands because we're friends.
Yep, because we're best friends.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the middle of this because like they could have just said "I love you" or whatever.
Yeah, it really doesn't make. I don't know why they just didn't do it. It doesn't make any sense to me. But it doesn't like ruin the experience for me either.
Yeah, it doesn't really ruin anything. But I will say that Shinji saying that he said, "Oh, I'm actually worthy," or something like that. The worthy part.
No, he said that he should be. He should be gracious or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like worthy of his grace or something like that. Something like that. That was kind of.
That's weird. Yeah, that's.
Yeah. But other than that, it's fine overall. I think a lot of these memes are memes, which is fun and all. But I think the overall thing that I got from this is that it's pretty on par almost with the original, and that's fine with me.
Yeah.
There's nothing too horrible except for some exceptions here and there with Shinji's voice acting.
And the ending
theme. Pretty much about it. You mean Fly Me to the Ray 1?
Everybody get in, we're going to the Ray 1.
Yeah. Now, of course, we haven't really seen the entirety of this dub. We just seen the ones that we wanted to see, which we're kind of like, yeah, okay, but we didn't really dive deep into the like episodes of Ray 1, Ray 2, and like how Shinji's monologue and dialogues go on in like the last two, and like in where he's in that one angel where he's like trapped and then he's like talking to Ray and stuff like that. But overall, I think it'll be fine, especially for Normie's first Evangelion.
Normie's first Eva.
Which it would be okay if Normies would be like understanding of what subtitles are and the original like voice acting from the Japanese vocals, but we can't live all in a perfect world, so that's fine with me. Gotta get that Hedgehog's Dilemma in there somewhere, right? Yeah.
No, but how are you in Netflix and you can't get the rights to Fly Me to the Moon? And that's the thing, they got the rights in Japan, but they couldn't get it. It was too expensive to get the rights in the United States. Because, all the people, because Rat Pack is what? Yeah, because the distributor, because it's not a classic that's played on every cruise ship ever, or every casino, or everything like that in Japan.
Yeah.
Cultural significance, it's about the same as it is over in Japan, just because Evangelion's so big. But
course, yeah.
the fact that it is so much more in the normie spectrum here is why the price is so high.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But I mean, Rat Pack is coming back for the third time, so you better just up that price. Ooh, no. Oh, Frank Sinatra's turning his grave.
I've been wanting a physical copy of this series, and it's so hard, and I think the only copy that I might be getting is this Netflix one, and I don't want it to be.
Well, I mean, if you're lucky enough, if you hunt at Goodwill long enough,
yeah,
you'll find some VHS.
I probably will be able to find one at Fry's or something like that, but yeah. It'll be something. But yeah. And with that, anything else?
No, as far as anything else, go watch it if you haven't. It's now basically free as long as you have Netflix, so I would definitely watch it. It's perfectly bingeable. Rocco from X64 did a funny gag where he told people to spend 2 or 3 weeks in between episodes in order to fully savor the flavor. In which he, of course, incited plenty of howdy-do types that wanted to correct him at every corner, which is just hilarious. You think after years, gosh, it's been like a decade of just like trolling him personally, just him trolling.
Yeah.
Not even just people understanding what trolling is, but just him personally trolling, and people still can't figure it out.
yeah.
Oh well. No, but nothing game changing.
Yeah.
As far as story plot wise, there's still little things here, phrases they mess up, things they change, and if you watch it with the subtitles, you'll see that it has a slightly different meaning than what the original was supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's as far as like a redub in 2019, I think they did a pretty good job.
Yeah. Again, they could always do worse.
And they will. We just wait until another Beloved series gets redubbed on Netflix.
Just wait. Yep.
Oh man.
All right. Any other lasting thoughts?
Let's see.
Are we good?
I watched something the other day. What was it? I started playing just a little. We're done with Evangelion. Just a little thing. There is a new crafting survival game called Raft.
Raft.
Yeah, the Funhouse guys played it. Basically, you start out on a 4x4 raft.
Oh yes.
And you're followed around by a shark that you can kill, but always respawns. And basically, you get a grappling hook to start out with, and you have to build your raft, make it more efficient, and fish items out of the ocean so you can craft, while keeping yourself alive by treating seawater with a water treatment thing and grilling fish on the little grill.
Yeah.
And although it sounds really simple, the graphics are great. It's really fun. I can't wait to get some more people on there. I'm just messing with it by myself right now. It's only $20 on Steam, so it's pretty cheap. Still in the alpha stages, but it's definitely a together game. It'll be interesting to see what it turns into, but I would definitely recommend it if you're looking for something to kill some time with, because it doesn't take that long to just play a little bit, and then you can just quit whenever.
Yeah.
But that's my little shameless plug about what I've been playing video game wise. Also, I plan to play Final Fantasy VII before the Part 1 comes out, so I need to get on that.
Yeah. I've recently just went back into my technically third playthrough of Final Fantasy VII, or I continuing off, which I was like on like the last-ish half of the second disc. I'm going through it again, just for giggles, But yeah, you want to talk about Final Fantasy VII for a little bit? Or
I mean, I played bits and pieces at friend's house. I never played through it all the way myself. Yeah. So, of course, I've never actually finished 6 either, because my computer that I was emulating it on died right in front of me. And, and so I was right before the final fight with Kefka, so I didn't want to go through all that pain and suffering again. So,
Yeah.
especially because it's really hard to do the bumps rush with freaking Sabin whenever you're using analog keyboard keys.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yep.
So, yeah.
True that. Yeah.
I mean, I've like I said, I know just about everything through proxy, whether just like watching friends play it or playing a little bit myself, or just all the multimedia that's come out about it in the following years.
And I don't think that this remake will be able to not make people not spoil the death scene of a certain character in this game. Because everybody and their dogs already know what happens to that character.
I was about to say, they already made SpongeBob memes about it. Of course everybody knows.
Yeah, I don't think it'll have the same gravitas as the original. And I'm not really a huge fan of the original, but I can definitely tell that they're trying to do something different a little bit here and there with this remake of what we've seen, and I think they're doing it a fine job.
Yeah, it's not like they're just digitally remastering it and just swapping out assets. They're literally making it updated for an updated audience.
That on the PC if you search hard enough for the mods, and that.
Yeah. Well, there are mods and stuff like that, but like upgrading base mechanics in the game is something you have to wait for the actual, production company to do.
And I will say that, from the first gameplay of Final Fantasy VII Remake, I was kind of a little bit worried because I was just kind of fresh off of Final Fantasy 15 and how horrible that game was. And to see that it had the same kind of mechanics and attacks, it was just like, oof, no, this is not a right direction, Square Enix, but whatever, it is the now Square Enix. But after this gameplay, and showing that you have a little bit more control over than just hold square to win is something in a step in the right direction. Not the perfectest thing ever, but it's still
well, I mean, you kind of have to go halfway with that because you don't want it to stay the same because you're remastering it. And so you want to bring in new stuff, new concepts, but you also don't want to stray too far from the original formula.
Zero, I don't have any connection with the ATB system and how they are doing it with Remake by making it feel like a hack and slash kind of thing, but it's kind of like they're still doing the hold square to win type of deal, but they're adding in mechanics that help you have a more strategic basis in your attacks with the ATB type system gauge that they have in this thing that they explained, which is a pretty good system in my opinion, but it's still on that teetering edge of you could do a little bit better than that, but because with everything that Final Fantasy 15 had, was that all the attacks felt like you were hitting people with paper, but it was super effective because they had zero they didn't feel oh, I hit that person and they stumbled. They're oh, I hit that person but they're still moving and they're still doing their stuff, and it's just oh, okay, I guess my attacks don't have any gravity behind them, but but yeah. That's just that, and then we got confirmation that Tifa is okay. Guys, Tifa is okay. Except the knee-high things can go away.
Well, except the double mastectomy, but
Hey, they're held back. They had to be held back. That training bra.
For all of our sakes. For all of our sakes, they're held back. Limiting her power. No, but what was it? They
also cussing is in the game. Awesome, cool, thanks.
In my Christian Final Fantasy.
In my ampersand numerical sign @ star sign Final Fantasy game. No thanks.
I mean, what is Gamer for God going to do now?
Yeah.
Oh well. We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, it's still a while before the finished product part 1 comes out, so we'll just have to wait and see what kind of atrocities they try and force onto us.
Yeah, and all the journalism stuff to come out from that.
The quality journalism.
So yeah.
Oof. Well, anyway, so we've also started another podcast recently that I've headed up called Manga Monthly Review. And so if you're interested in that sort of stuff, if you're interested in reading cool, interesting mangas, just look that up. It's under the same SAF label as everything else. So check that out. They should be out around the 15th of every month.
So do we have a...
last time we did Aiki, and this time we're doing Satan 666. Which is done by the brother of Kimishi Mashimoto, the guy who did Naruto, so it has a very similar art style. They're twin brothers, by the way, so they're not cheating. They both just draw the same because they grew up in the same exact environment. It's literally... But, so that should be out by the 15th, so... listen to that if you're in the audience. If we have the audience, who knows? The analytics keep lying to us.
Yes, they want to keep us down because they know our true potential.
Oh man, what's her name? Laura, or who is this current CEO of YouTube? It's I think it's like Susan or Laura or something like that. I wanted to say Zuck, but I'm like, no, it's Susan Wojcicki. Yeah, so Susan, we know you're listening. And just like your son said, your videos are really cringy. So get off your own platform. You boomer, because you gotta let those Zoomers come in and zoom. Zoom.
And with that, we call that a podcast, right? A little podcast.
Yep.
Right? Yep.
Bye, buddy.
Don't eat them bananas.
Bye. Don't eat bananas.